And the only thing that wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims, to believe that you have no agency, to believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain, is to protest, is to throw soup on paintings. And we on this side of the House are not on this side of the House because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the House because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build. And the problem with woke culture is that it's trained too many young minds like yours to forget about that.
What's going on, everyone? Social Comedian here today. We're reacting to a video with Comedian Konstantin Kisin. I hope I said that name right. I don't want to talk anymore. Let's get into the video.
You will not know this, but I was supposed to be the first non-student speaker for the proposition. I've now been the fourth, which means that I now have to thank all the previous speakers for making my best points for me. And I find that the main reason now that I have left to be in support of the motion is that I am so tired of talking about woke culture.
I don't know much about the motion they're talking about, but I think it's a bill that's supposed to be reinforcing free speech, and he's gonna be speaking mainly against woke culture and climate change, I believe. But let's get back into the video.
That's why it's gone too far, more than anything else. And I thank the other speakers for making the points for me, because it means I don't have to reiterate the point that no, free speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation of Western civilization.
Exactly. The exchanging of ideas. Free speech is meant to allow the disagreeable party to voice their opinions out in the public and let the public decide, right? And this is something I've been really struggling with online, is because I put my opinions out there. This is how I honestly think, and people will slander you, calling you ignorant, calling you a coon, calling me a sellout, all this stuff, because I don't conform to their worldview. And I'm probably never going to conform, because in the day, I have an opinion that majority of black Americans don't have. And I think that's necessary in our society. Bruh. Because if all the black people just agree on one thing and no one ever can differ on opinion, then all of us is going to walk down a path of destruction. What if the Democrats are wrong about everything and no black person is there to call it out? We all fall for the same thing, right? How can I expect something differently from a group of people that's been doing the same thing for 50-something years, and you want me to put my bet on that horse? No, forget that.
Nope.
No. I'd rather vote Republican than go vote Democrat at this point, because a lot of the long-term policies that hurt the black community has been from Democratic policies. And I should have the ability, free speech, to say that and have someone challenge that. But people who don't like free speech, or the people who are in power, or people who have the popular opinion, who have the majority opinion, and they don't want to lose nobody on their side, so they don't want you to shout down because they don't have the facts on their side. They don't have the truth on their side. All they got is revisionist theory, history, whatever, cherry picking history. They don't want to judge things on its totality. And this is why free speech is a danger to people like them. But hey, I digress.
Upon this civilization is built and the Enlightenment values that led to it. I don't have to make the point that has been made by far better people in the past, that the only way to deal with the problem of racism is to treat people on the content of their character and nothing else. And the fact that woke culture seeks to overturn that is a new form of racism that we must all oppose.
Yeah, this DEI stuff is trying to bring back segregation effectively, right? Y'all did all this effort with y'all Democratic Party to do forced integration. Y'all went through all that, your ancestors went through all that struggle, because y'all didn't. For most of y'all anyway. If you're not older than, I think, what, maybe 40, you didn't go through it. Y'all did all that effort just so the new generation, Gen Z and millennials, can reenact segregation all over again. Bruh. But it's nicer this time. Affirmative action is a racist policy. I already said it before. I stand on that. I stand on that. I don't care.
How dare you?
I'm like, my patience is running like this thin, especially with all the comments I get online. Rehash arguments. It seems like I all go through one script. Like the people who disagree with me, they go through one script and just repeat that in my comment section. I'm like, can you answer this question for me? right? Because I'm actually looking to learn. Instead, I get called names, bruh. That's because I differ from opinion with you. This is why I love the country that I'm in right now. This is why I'm an American, because I had the right to say what I said. You have the right to disagree or agree. Give me a counter argument, whatever, and it's only gonna make me better. That's how I take it.
It means also I will not use this opportunity to say I told you so, as someone who spent the last 5 years warning people in the West that if we continue to erode our culture, if we continue to undermine our confidence in Western values, that our enemies, enemies like Vladimir Putin, will seek to capitalize on it. I will not make any of those points tonight, at all. Instead, I am not going to talk to those of you who already agree with me, which I imagine is most of you. I'm not going to talk to you because I imagine after everything you've heard tonight, you're going to vote for the proposition. I'm going to confess I will take your vote for granted. Tonight, I am the Labour Party and you are the Red Wall. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are woke and who are open to rational argument. A small minority, I accept. Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth.
Exactly.
But I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational argument, so let me make one. We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you.
One thing is that I don't think these woke people can ever save anything, because they can't even manage their own lives, but they know what's best for the world. Like, there's a saying, you can't change the world unless you change yourself, right? And all the difficulties in your personal life are small compared to the problems of the world. But I'm supposed to expect you guys know what the correct solution is. And climate change is a hysterical religion at this point, because prediction after prediction all these environmentalists have been making for the past 70, maybe 60 years has been wrong. None of them has ever come true. The most has come is like maybe on average we rose up a degree on average. So I'm like, yo, it's hysterical. Y'all trying to push us down a certain path. And when people, they call it, when someone's trying to swindle you, they try to make you do a rash decision very quickly. Oh, you got to do it today. You got to do it today. They pressure you to try to make it seem like this is the only chance that you have a chance to do anything about it. And that's what the same tactics these environmentalists are making with climate change. And this is why we need free speech. And this is why they don't like free speech. Because when people like me or other bigger platforms or bigger personalities speak out against this stuff, it hurts their narrative. Bruh. Right? Especially the media. Remember, the media can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. That's from Malcolm X. And I don't understand why people get so mad when they hear speech or an opinion they don't like. I don't understand that.
I will join you in worshipping at the feet of Saint Greta of climate change. Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join you in this view. I truly do. Now, what are we to do about this huge problem facing humanity? What can we in Britain do? We can only do one thing. You know why? This country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions.
I think the United States as well, right? And the United States was becoming energy independent too. So that means they were less reliant on Russian oil, Indian oil, I believe, Saudi Arabia. I don't quite remember. Like, geopolitics are like one of my weak points. So if someone has a better idea, let me know in the comment section. But most Western countries aren't producing most of the oil. This is why Trump took America out of the Paris Accord, because he was saying, hey, only we are following the Paris Accord. No other country that's part of the Paris Accord is following the Paris Accord. China's not following it. India's not following it, but we let them get away with it. But for some reason, America is held to a higher standard. And Trump was like, yo, I'm not paying into this. And then Biden came in. He put us right back in.
It doesn't make sense.
Hey, but, politics for you, Politicians are more interested in looking good than actually doing good, right? Based on their constituents who vote them in. But hey, I digress.
Means that if Britain was to sink into the sea right now, it would make absolutely no difference to the issue of climate change. You know why? Because the future of the climate is going to be decided in Asia, and in Latin America by poor people who couldn't give a shit about saving the planet.
And that's one thing, like, I think a lot of these climate change hysterists fail to realize is that worrying about the climate is a privilege. Like no poor person in America or not even in Britain care about the climate like as much as a white liberal does. Bruh. Right? Like, I think if you compare most of the people who are, oh my God, climate change are white people for the most part. And that's a pattern recognition. Don't call me a racist because I said that. Bruh. I just recognize a pattern. And especially, they're women especially, right? Mostly women, I think, right? They go, it's first world problems. Like, and in the countries that are producing the most carbon emissions, they're not going to listen to you. So what y'all going to do about it? Nothing. But y'all want to sit here and criticize, oh, the West is the worst thing since sliced bread. Okay, why you don't move somewhere else? Now I'm starting to understand why a lot of conservatives tell people who complain about their country to leave.
No, thank you. No, thank you. It's going to be decided by poor people in Asia and Latin America who don't care about saving the planet. You know why? Because they're poor. Because they're poor. I come from Russia, which is not a poor country, it's a middle-income country. 20% of households in Russia do not have an indoor toilet. What they have is an outdoor toilet. And I don't mean one of those nice portaloos that we get here. I don't even mean a Glastonbury portaloo. I mean a wooden shack with a hole in the ground that holds a collected fermented memory of the last 10,000 visits. How many of you are going to go home tonight and say, let's rip out our bathroom and erect a Siberian shithouse in the back garden?
None.
And if you're not, why should they? 120 million people in China.
And this is the problem with the left. They expect other people to behave and act better than them, but they can get away with acting like entitled, spoiled brats. Bro. Bruh. Yeah, it's a two-way street. If you can do something, you can't really necessarily criticize another side for doing the same thing.
Do not have enough food. I don't mean that they don't get dessert. I mean they suffer from malnutrition. That means that their immune system is breaking down because they don't have enough food. You're not going to get them to stay poor. Imagine you're Xi Jinping, the leader of China. When you were 10 years old, there was a revolution, a cultural revolution in your country. And people came and they put your father in prison. Your mother had to denounce him. Your sister killed herself.
Wow.
And you, no longer enjoying the protection of your formerly powerful father, were sent to a village where you lived in a cave house. And here you are, decades later. You have clawed your way up the bloody and greasy pole of Chinese politics.
Damn.
To be the undisputed supreme leader of the very Communist Party that destroyed your family.
This bad sound like this is some stuff you watch in a movie. Damn. With someone with that kind of mental makeup, you think you're gonna get them to be like, you need to stop producing oil for the good of the world? He's gonna look at you like, nope, get out of here. Like, and this is logic and this is reality. Like conservatives understand we have to operate within reality, and reality have rules and confines that we have to abide by. Liberals think, no, I create my own reality. Men can be women and women can be men. Men can give birth. This is why woke people getting such a bad rap now, and now I'm starting to see this pushback against them finally. But hey, I digress.
And you know that the main thing you have to do to survive and to stay in power is to deliver the one thing that the people of China want: prosperity, economic growth. Where do you think climate change ranks on Xi Jinping's list of priorities?
He's not even on there.
A third of all children who live in extreme poverty in the world live in India. That means they are starving and dying of preventable disease. Now, about 15 months ago, my wife got pregnant. Not me, because we're old school.
Hey, that was a good one.
And for 9 months, we talked about what our boy would look like, what he might do when he grows up. We looked at baby scans and videos on YouTube about what the fetus looks like at 9 months and 12 months and 20 months. And eventually he was born. And he is this cute little bundle of joy. He's cuter than about 80% of puppies, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you said to me that I had a choice, either my son had a serious risk of starving or dying from a preventable disease in the next year, or I could press a button and he would live. He would go to school. He would bring his first girlfriend home. He'd go to university and graduate and become a woke idiot.
Oh my God. Hey, woke people, y'all got a branding problem right now. That all these people are speaking out against y'all. I think it's because, like most power hungry people, they overplay their hand. It's literally, I think you can sum up his whole argument against people who just want to be left alone and control freaks. That's pretty much it. That's the whole summary of his argument. There's control freaks and people who just want to live their life. Oh, you can't do that. You're hurting the planet. Like, if it's within my best interest to do it, you have to come up with a better solution, not just criticize me, because then you're just going to make me go more 10 toes down on what I stand on. That's it. Like, these woke people don't have any persuasive arguments, really. But I digress.
And then he'd get a job and get married and have children and become a man. But all I have to do is press this button. And for every day of my son's life, a giant plume of CO2 is going to get released into the atmosphere. Now, you're all very young, and most of you are not parents. Let me tell you something. There is not a parent in the world who would not smash that button so hard their hand bled.
Mm-hmm. And this is one thing woke people need to understand, because I think woke people operate in a collectivist mindset. Like, oh, we're part of a collective, right? And what's good for the collective is good for everyone else, but that's not necessarily the truth, right? For instance, I know I've been hammering this example, but what's good for most black people is not good for my family. Oh, CRT, not good for my family. Because at the end of the day, their studies show that when you expose your kids to CRT curriculum, they're less assured. They perform worse in school, right? Their academic performance starts dwindling down, right? Their self-esteem is in the dumps. They're more prone to depression, right? They lack self-esteem because you're taught that you're inferior, you're a victim, you're an oppressor. And CRT affects all kids, all American kids, not just black kids. Every time I talk about CRT, people say, oh, that's only affecting black. No, it's not. It's affecting all the kids. The white kids that's being say, hey, you guilty of a sin that you never committed, right? Even though most white people in this country has no ties to slavery, maybe only 10% of them have ties to slavery. But all of them are bad. Okay.
You are not going to get these people to stay poor. You're not even going to get them to not want to be richer. And so, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change. And that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap. And no, thank you.
Why do you keep interrupting this man?
And the only, I want everyone to get home on time today, which is not going to happen. And the only thing that wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims.
Exactly. That's CRT. This is why we need free speech. Because like these people who are using hate speech, for woke people, hate speech is something I don't like.
To believe that you have no agency, to believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain, is to protest, is to throw soup on paintings.
Not going to do nothing.
And we on this side of the house are not on this side of the house because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the house because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build.
Not to destroy. And what BLM is doing, destroying. They ain't building communities, they're destroying communities. Bro, come on. And then I call it out as, yo, Black Lives Matter is not a productive movement for black people, and I get a bunch of,
how dare you?
Like, come on, guys. Like, we gotta call it a spade. Like, we can't keep trying to treat minorities as like handicapped kids, special needs kids. They're throwing crap on the floor and we're looking at them and we're just tolerating it. And I think that's what happened in America, is we started tolerating bad behavior from people just because they happen to be this, they happen to be that. Because I want to get back to a place where in America we can debate the realities of situations, right? And yeah, your interpretation is going to come in, your subjective views is going to come in, of course, but make compelling arguments. Say, hey, this is what's backing up my subjective view of the world. Here's the reality. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.